Hello and welcome to day 20 of Lifebook's 30-day transformational challenge. I'm really happy to be here with you today. Yesterday we began the financial category, and today we're going to continue our exploration of finances by focusing on true financial abundance. And I hope that you're going to agree with me that the financial advice and guidance that we're going to deliver today alone will be worth much more than the cost of this entire program. If you apply the concepts and if you do the exercises that we're going to share with you today, you will create a quantifiable surge in your financial life. But we're going to give you something much more valuable than just financial advice, because there's so many financial strategies out there. You can find them anywhere. What we're going to do today is we're going to help you bring an immense amount of consciousness to this category by sharing a unique and powerful perspective that's going to give you a much deeper understanding of the role that money plays in your life. It's going to give you infinitely more control over your financial world. And we're going to share a surefire formula for creating financial abundance that will work. Now, that's a big promise, I know, so we better get to work. The financial category is unique in many ways. It's super emotionally charged. It's surrounded by massive confusion all over the world. It's really intense. From a data perspective, the financial category is an outlier across the 12 categories. It's by far the most popular category of focus among the tens of thousands of people who've taken Lifebook's Introspect Assessment. More than 26% of the general population choose the financial category as the category they most need to improve. So out of 12 categories, more than 1 in 4 choose this one as the one they most need to improve. Money seems to be a subject that's on everybody's mind. So today we're going to go deep and we're going to take it seriously. This is going to be a hardcore exploration with no sugarcoating. This video is going to be a little longer than the others, but this category really deserves it. And it may get a little turbulent. We may get tossed around a little bit on this journey, so fasten your seatbelt and be prepared to think. I'm going to ask you something that I've never asked you before in this entire challenge. Please don't watch this video until you're ready to give it your full attention, because I hope that by the end of it, you're going to have experienced a serious shift in how you view your financial life. This is an important one, so please take it seriously. Okay, we have all heard the phrase, there are two sides to every coin, right? It's a fun little metaphor, and it's one you're going to hear a lot during this video. It's the perfect phrase to describe this exploration because the financial category involves so much paradox, so much dichotomy. On the one side of the coin, the financial category is one of the most moving and spiritual categories of them all. Because when you truly understand what money is a symbol of human productivity and achievement, and it represents all the good things that people create and offer each other. And when you truly understand how wealth is created, which is by creating value for your fellow human beings, you start to get in touch with some pretty profound things, like your highest form of contribution as a human being, like the best and highest use of you, which can lead you to discovering your purpose in life. The creation of wealth, progress, and prosperity, that's what eliminates suffering. That's what eliminates poverty in this world. That's what keeps the human race moving forward. Doesn't get much more important and moving and powerful than that, does it? Well, on the other side of the coin, this category is surrounded by so much stress, so much confusion, and just so much weirdness, it's just ridiculous. We've been taught that money is evil, or the love of it is anyway. But we all want more money. We're taught that rich people are greedy, that they're selfish, that they're bad, they take advantage of other people. But we all would like to be wealthy. We're not taught anything real or meaningful or serious about money in school, and then we wonder why most of us have serious money problems. Most of us are in debt up to our eyebrows. We're bewildered and angered by the widening gap between the rich and the poor. Financial problems are a leading cause of divorce. Poverty, or lack of money, is a leading cause of crime. This is one of the only categories that people are willing to kill for. I mean, you really couldn't have two more intensely opposite sides of the same coin, right? And it's exactly this sort of yin-yang thing that we're going to explore in this video. Now, before we move into these stormy waters, I suggest we get a compass so that we can understand where true north is. This category is so confusing and complicated that we've got to have a decision-making framework, a standard by which to judge good or bad, right or wrong, true or false, or we're in danger of being swept away by this crazy category. So I want to begin with an important lifebook principle. It's called the big picture principle. And this is one of my favorites. This is an incredibly important one. It says that ultimately people just want to be happy, and everything else they want is a means to that end. As you'll discover, this may be the most valuable concept to keep in mind when we're exploring this wild financial category. Because as Stephen Covey says, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. So let's just remember as we go through this, happiness is the main thing. If your mission is to create a truly extraordinary life in every important area, including your financial life, there is no question that your life vision has got to center around happiness. Happiness is the main thing, and everything else in your life either supports your happiness or it takes away from your happiness, including your financial life. And happiness isn't merely a final destination to be reached, it's also about the journey to get there. The only way you can have an extraordinary life is to build it step by step, so you're going to be spending a lot more time on the journey than you're going to be spending at the ultimate destination. So the journey itself must produce immense happiness. Every single day that you move toward your life vision should generate feelings of joy for you, feelings of satisfaction and contentment and well-being. Goal achievement is hugely important. It's a big, big, important piece of the happiness puzzle, but it's literally half the battle. A successful life entails something more than just charging toward your goals every second of the day to realize an end result. Equally important, which is the other half, is that life is meant to be lived and savored and treasured. Sid Caesar said, "In between goals is a thing called life that is to be lived and to be enjoyed." Achieving our dreams, hugely important. We're all about that, but the process of achieving our dreams should be fun and fulfilling too. So it's not about just being in great shape. It should be fun to get in shape. You should enjoy the process. It's not just about having an awesome marriage. Every single day it took to build that awesome marriage should bring you feelings of gratefulness and joy. It's not about just being wealthy. The actual process of making money needs to be enjoyable and fulfilling. If you're not enjoying the process while creating abundance in all the areas of your life, you're missing the point, because the point is happiness. Your happiness is the most important thing in your life. That's the true north. So let's just keep that compass in mind. Let's keep it handy as we venture into these stormy waters and take a look at the financial category. Okay, back to two sides of the same coin. On the one side of the coin, if you don't spend enough time and enough focus and enough energy on the financial category, if you don't come at it with the right mindset, you're not going to have near the quality of life that you could have. You're going to be living in lack. You're going to be experiencing stress and frustration and feeling like you're living with one hand tied behind your back. W. Somerset Maugham said, "Money is like a sixth sense, without which you can't make complete use of the other five." I love that quote. If you don't have it together in the financial category, you're going to be missing out on a huge amount of what life has to offer. That's one side of the coin. Here's the other. You spend too much time in this category, it's going to destroy your quality of life just the same. This category can completely take over people's lives, and it can become all they think about. You don't often hear about people ruining their love relationship because they focus too much time on their health and fitness, but they will ruin their marriages pursuing money. People won't give up time with their kids and miss their childhoods because they're spending too much time working on their character, but they will for the pursuit of money. I can almost guarantee that you will not look back on your life and regret how much time you spent developing yourself spiritually or intellectually. But if you spend too much time focused on making money, you will have regrets. Same coin, two sides, immense consciousness required. Now, my life journey has given me some very interesting experience with the financial category because I've been both very, very poor and very, very rich. So I'm intimately familiar with both sides of this interesting coin. I was born the son of a starving artist, and I mean that literally. I'm the oldest of 7, and there were times when we didn't have enough to eat and when we went to bed hungry. All of our clothes were from the Salvation Army or Goodwill. I grew up on welfare lunches. I've been homeless, lived in a car with my brother in a park for 2 weeks. 2 weeks doesn't seem like a long time, but trust me, when you're living in a car, 2 weeks is a long time. So I've survived on no money at all for extended periods of time. I know poor. I know poor well. I spent half my life there. And I've spent the other half of my life rich. Started 20 companies. I still own 7 of them. One of the brands I own has done billions of dollars in sales. I've built and lived in some of the most beautiful homes in the world, been to nearly half the world's countries, stayed in the finest hotels, I've lived on the 100-foot yachts. I have been to both parties all the way, so I can share some personal insights from both sides of this crazy financial coin. And here's one of those insights. Everybody wants more money than they have. Everybody wants more money than they have. I know a lot of people who aren't well off at all, and they all want more money than they have. I know a few billionaires and well over 100 millionaires, and I will tell you, they all want more money than they have. I'm wealthy, and I'd like to have more money than I have right now. No one I know is completely satisfied with their financial life. No one. Are you? But I've given this a lot of thought, and at the end of the day, it's just human nature. It's actually just the nature of life in general. Organisms are either growing or they're dying. They're either expanding or they're contracting. As human beings, we're literally wired to expand, to want more. And not just in the financial category, in every area of life. We'd all like to be a little wealthier. We'd all like to be in a little bit better shape, more spiritually fulfilled, just a little bit happier. No matter where you are in any area of life, I think you've got to have something to strive for. And that's a good thing if you're a conscious person. That's how goals get set. That's how things get accomplished. That's how wealth gets created, how economies get built, how quality of life gets raised. That is how our species makes progress. As Lifebook members, we focus a lot on what we want in our lives that we don't have yet. It's called your life vision. And it's always going to entail better than what you have right now. Always. I've had my life book for over 20 years, and no matter where I am or how successful I get, my vision is, it's a vision. It's a mental image of what the future could look like, and it's always better than what today looks like. Always. Everyone wants more, and that's okay. It can be a really, really good thing when it comes to developing yourself, achieving your potential, creating a brighter future and a higher quality of life than what you have right now. That's just all good stuff. So that's one side of the coin. Here's the other side of the coin. This continuous striving for more can set up a mental situation where no matter how much you have, you feel a sense of lack because you are falling short of some imagined ideal. And you never quite achieve that ideal in any category of life. You're never quite successful enough in your career, never quite thin enough, never quite muscular enough, never quite a good enough parent or spouse or spiritually enlightened enough. You're never quite rich enough. You start to focus on what you don't have, and you start to feel deflated that you're not living up to some imagined potential instead of being immensely appreciative for who you actually are and where you are in life right now and what you actually have. Simply put, there's this tension between ambition, what you want, setting and accomplishing goals, achieving, creating more, on the one hand, and on the other hand, gratefulness, contentment for what you have already. And here's what I consider to be one of the true secrets that I've discovered in my own life, and I've learned from deep study by the masters on the subject. Your happiness in any category of your life entails both sides of this coin. Your very best life entails striving for more with a passion that drives you forward toward achievement, while simultaneously being immensely grateful that you absolutely have enough right here, right now. Happiness, our North Star, is made up of two parts. The satisfaction that comes from the progressive accomplishment of worthy goals, which comes from wanting things to be better than what they are right now, and total, complete, absolute contentment and gratefulness for the way things are right now. If you can master the relationship between these two experiences, you've achieved one of the most profound things that a human being could ever aspire to. And applied to the financial category, here's what it looks like. I am immensely grateful for my financial life today. I have enough right now. I'm truly blessed. I don't want, I have. I don't need, I have. I'm so incredibly thankful for that. And I fully intend to expand my financial life even more from here. I'm going to strive to create more value for others, and as a result, more wealth and abundance for myself and my family every day. And I'm going to enjoy every single minute of that process. That is the recipe for financial happiness, because it keeps happiness the main focus. It entails striving for growth and enjoying the process. And that's the magic formula. It keeps the main thing the main thing. And it leads to what I consider to be the biggest financial breakthrough you could ever have. This is bigger than any wealth creation strategy that you will ever learn, and it's the big thought of today's financial exploration. Here's what it is. True financial abundance has nothing to do with how much money you have. I'm going to repeat that. True financial abundance has nothing to do with how much money you have. True financial abundance is nothing but a state of mind. Here's proof. I know many, many millionaires that live in total lack. They don't enjoy their financial success at all. It causes them to lose sleep. They're paranoid about their relationships. Why is that person trying to get close to me? It must be for my money. They live way below their means. They're scared to spend money. They've got no experience of abundance in their life whatsoever. Having a lot of money can make you overly fearful of losing it if you don't have the right mindset. I mean, what good is having money if you still have to do all the stuff that you don't want to do? Things you could afford to pay others to do. As H.G. Bond put it in 1855, money makes a great servant, but a bad master. So true. For people like this, money has become an end in itself. Instead of a means to an end, the end of happiness. You know, the big picture principle is just out the window with these people. They've lost sight of the main thing. And they've also lost sight of what money is for in the first place and what it can do and how unbelievably fortunate they are to have some of it. Their money hasn't given them freedom, it's imprisoned them. Despite the fact that they've got a lot of money, they don't have financial abundance. They live in a state of perpetual financial lack. So that's one side of the coin. On the other side of the coin, I know people with very little money that are financially happy and financially content, much more satisfied with their financial life than those millionaires I just talked about. Despite the fact that they don't have a lot of money, they seem to have everything in life that they want and need. I'll bet you know some people like that too. They're out there. People who live on a modest income, but they're just really happy and truly content. They have no experience of financial lack at all, and it's usually because of how grateful they are for what they do have. A few years ago, I learned an amazing financial lesson about the nature of true financial abundance from my brother-in-law, Pat. He's a small business owner. He makes a good living. He doesn't have money to waste, but he makes more than enough to live in a great house, to pay all of his bills, save some money, take a nice vacation every now and then with his family. And I remember years ago, I was working with him on his business model because he'd finally cracked the code in his business. And he was at the point where he could really scale and expand. I mean, this thing was ready to roll out if he wanted to roll it out. So we explored the possibilities for a few weeks. We sat down and really looked at the decision of whether or not he should expand his business. And at the end of the day, after really giving it a lot of thought, he said to me, "You know what, John? I think I got enough right now. I think I've got everything I need. Don't really want to miss out on any of my kids' softball games. I'm just not willing to trade my time for more money right now." Pat made a conscious decision not to expand, not to scale his business, so that he wouldn't have to miss a moment of his kids' childhoods. I was in awe of that decision. I still am. It's one of the best life decisions I've ever seen anyone make. A profound, wise, intelligent choice that changed his whole life and the life of everyone in his family. Pat's one of the happiest, most content people I have ever met, precisely because he chooses an abundant mindset over actually making more money. He chose an abundant consciousness over more cash. That's amazing right there. The greatest financial gift you could ever give yourself is realizing this. If you let this concept soak in and really let it permeate your soul and saturate every molecule of your being, this alone will change your life, because you'll be ready to come at this category in the most powerful way possible. But I'll tell you, you cannot fake this. You can't talk yourself into it or hypnotize yourself into this. It's got to be real. It's got to be deep and authentic in order to create the true paradigm shifts. Here are a few strategies that you can use to help you get there. If you don't think you have enough right now, if you're having a hard time mustering up feelings of gratefulness and contentment for your current financial situation, which could be fair, you might want to do something like take a trip to a third world country, like Congo, for instance, where the average per capita income is less than 75 cents a day. Less than 75. Can you imagine living on $7.50 for 10 days? More than 60 million people live in that country, and the average income of those 60 million people, average, is about $20 a month. So you go to that country with a $100 bill, you got 5 months of money right there. In a country like that, an old school 13-inch tube TV with a tinfoil antenna is the greatest treasure that an entire village will have, around which the whole village will gather every evening to watch some fuzzy black and white reruns of Love Boat or something in a language they can't understand, and that brings them so much joy. How many flat screens do you have in your house? Another great way to generate gratefulness for what you have right now is to study history. You watch a series like Mankind, the Story of Us All, or anything on World War II, or anything on the Dark Ages, and when you study history, the history of the human race, you realize that you are living at the best time in the best place ever by a mile. I'm not going to sit here and belabor this point, but suffice it to say that we in the modern world really have no idea of what true poverty is, what true suffering and true misery are like. Now, from that perspective, you take a good look at what you have right now, and you will understand that you're so blessed. We are so fortunate. We have more than enough. We have financial abundance. And this is really the most powerful financial orientation that there is, the abundance mindset. And the thing that I'm trying to convey in this video is this is yours instantly if you simply choose it. Financial abundance is a mindset, and it's just waiting for you to reach out and claim it. If you choose to claim the abundance mindset, something very interesting and very powerful is going to happen to you. Once you get conscious about the relationship between money and happiness, like my brother Pat did, it helps you set that financial bar in just the right place in your life. Meaning, you can answer the question, how much wealth should I really strive for? Because the two sides of the coin that are at play here are, you set that financial bar too low, and you're not feeding your achievement side. You're going to miss out on the satisfaction and the fulfillment that comes from really challenging yourself. Remember, your happiness comes in part from the progressive realization of worthy goals, so you don't want to set that financial bar too low. You want to make good money so that you can have all the things that you want. The freedom to go the places that you want to go and to have amazing experiences, to have that beautiful house, to be able to contribute to others or get involved with charities or whatever you want to do, whatever works for you. On the other hand, other side of the coin, if you set the bar too high, you're going to have stress. You're going to mess up your happiness, not to mention about 10 other categories of your life. Because make no mistake about it, the decision to get rich is not just a financial decision. It's a whole life decision, and it's got both benefits and hazards. If you're not conscious about where to set that bar in your life, which most people aren't, you're probably going to default to what I call the treadmill situation, which most people do. You're going to flail around mindlessly, trying to make more and more and more and more and more money without ever asking yourself, why? How much is enough? What's this costing me to try to make all this money? Or ultimately, what kind of a life do I want to be living anyway? Thinking that when you finally have as much money as you want, which you never will, it's going to make your life better, which it wouldn't anyway, and the process of working mindlessly for it is not going to make you happy along the way. On the journey, it's going to wear you out, it's going to waste your life, and even if you do pull off the miraculous feat of getting rich under those circumstances, trust me, the having of it isn't going to make you happy if that's the way you got it. Because your relationships are probably going to be jacked up, your health and fitness is probably going to be a mess. That's just not how to do it. An abundance mindset is the inoculation that gets you off of that treadmill. It grounds you when you're deciding where to set that financial bar. Because you're starting out with, I've got enough already. And I'm excited about expanding from here, but I'm not going to trade my happiness for it. I'm never going to trade my happiness for money. That is a profoundly powerful financial orientation right there. And it all starts by understanding the relationship between happiness and money, which most people never even think about, and developing an abundance mindset. That's why my brother-in-law Pat is so successful, because he understands this relationship, and he spends the hours of his days exactly the way he wants to. He works hard, he makes decent money, but his happiness is measured in the moments of pure joy that he has and in the quality time that he spends loving his children. Pat is living a life of abundance. Now, my happiness picture when it comes to my financial life looks different than his. But guess what? I want to spend the hours of my days exactly the way I want to spend them too. Now, I've decided in my life that I want to be wealthy. That's the life that I want to live. I love money. I love creating wealth. I believe in it. It's an important part of my life. It's a major focus of mine. I work hard to create more value and more wealth pretty much every day. I understand that wealth is the product of production and value creation and contribution, which makes it one of the most beautiful and spiritual things in my life. I also understand that it comes at a cost. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of my focus. I know there's no way to get rich quick. There's no shortcuts, there's no free lunches. We earn our success, we earn our expertise, we earn our self-respect. No one can give us those things. They don't fall out of the sky. It's a big responsibility to create a lot of wealth. So I try to go into this category consciously. I take responsibility for my financial aspirations. So because I've decided to make a lot of money in my life, I expect to live with a healthy dose of stress in my life. Literally, a healthy dose of stress. I've got career and financial stress all the time. Why? Because I made a conscious decision to do big things in my life, difficult things, things that push my limits and unleash at least some of my potential into this world. I'm wealthy enough that I could make the decision never to work again another day in my life. I could make that decision tomorrow. But I've made the choice to go bigger because that's just who I am. But guess what? On that journey, I will never, ever lose sight of the fact that I have more than enough already, right here, right now. I am so incredibly grateful every day. So I can make really good financial decisions from that place. I work hard, I love being wealthy, I love making money, but I am not going to trade my happiness for it ever. Because my happiness, not money, is the main thing. Okay, with that in mind, let's go on to our financial exercise for the day. How we view money, what we believe about money, will have a huge impact on our financial life. So your exercise for today is to create a gratitude practice around your current financial life. We really want you to start to appreciate what you already have. It doesn't matter whether it's a little or a lot. Be grateful for the wealth you have around you today. And write in your journal every day from this point forward through the end of the program what you're grateful for in your financial life. This is going to be a magic exercise, I promise you that. Then next, I'd like you to bring a little consciousness to setting your financial bar. Now, this might take some time, but what we'd like you to do is really sit down and think about how much money is enough for me. Because the thing is, every wealth bracket contains its own level of sacrifices. And the question is, are you willing to make those sacrifices for a successful financial life? For some, the answer will be yes, and for others, the answer will be no. There's no right or wrong answer, but there is a right or wrong answer for you. The bar needs to be defined, and it needs to be defined by you. What price are you willing to pay to achieve your desired financial results? How much is enough for you? Now, tomorrow is going to be a very exciting day for us as we focus on activating your financial strategy. And our next category is what makes it all possible, your career. We're going to take a deep look at the 3 pillars upon which any successful, fulfilling career is based. One that creates financial abundance for you, and one that also adds value to the world and makes the world a better place. Tomorrow's category is nothing short of life-changing. Until then, it's been a privilege to spend this time with you. Take some time to do your financial exercise, and I'll see you tomorrow as we explore your career.